Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day to everyone here for some free enterprise. My name is Possum Orpheus, and I am joined in the booth by the one and only Martin Broadcloak for this fantastic Artemis Bow matchup between John Birckhead and Mechalink. How you doing this afternoon, Martin?
It is a day that ends in Y, Possum. How are you?
You know, I couldn't have said it better myself, but I just consider this Monday the 3rd. That's just how it goes around these parts. The trash is great though, so I can't really be complaining too much.
and looking at obviously these objectives for the runners, I don't know if I'm complaining too much here either. So I see some decent objectives here.
Yeah, I mean these objectives are certainly a new wave. Can't complain about them. Oh, we're talking about the real ones. Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
the real ones. Yeah,
So
no,
yeah, I thought we were about to sing and maybe dance.
no,
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 okay,
no.
it's not after dark enough for us to sing and dance, do some karaoke.
Definitely not enough imbibed beverage for that to occur yet.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was going to put on a charm claw and really just impress the audience, but I guess we're just going to have to stick with this yang that we're being shown with these actual objectives. We get to return a pan, we get to do a forge, we get to do something that's cut off because the objectives are too long. We get to turn in a sand ruby, lots of cool stuff in here. We actually need a number of objectives and a number of key items, so I'm looking forward to a nice, good race between John and Mecha.
Yeah. Obviously, this is part of the Artemis group or the Artemis Bow group. So we see the stats of the runners here. What are we looking at here, Possum? Do either of these two have a shot at possible brackets?
So they both do. They are, as of today, without spoiling any prior results, because there was a match between Plumeria Knight and Blue Cat Loach. One of them is confirmed, excuse me, for brackets in uh, first place for this group, at least guaranteed a tie. But these two runners that we have on screen could potentially get up to second in a second place tie, uh, have a very good chance of being in a third place tie or tiebreaker situation. So these two runners are very live for playoffs and for brackets in the Artemis Bow group. So this is a very important match to both of them. Expect to see some inspired running tonight.
I was gonna say I do love the not that I'm gonna call this a winner go home match, but I mean you're almost at that point. We are in week 3 of the tournament, so this is where the match fours, fives, sixes need to occur. So yeah, when you get in that mentality, boy, do you start seeing some very interesting things occurring. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and part of it's going to be, the pressure
Mhm.
that the runners feel. How do they deal with it? I tell you what relieves a lot of pressure
I,
early on, and that's finding an edge and a
yeah,
big bomb and a stardust.
yeah,
That's going to do the trick and probably
yeah.
take the nerves right out of it for our runners.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, our restreamer missed the part. Artemis Bow group. Characters that can use a bow, which is neither of these two. So help us out here.
I think Young's about to bow flex all over the seat is what's going to happen. Uh, and
Uh,
plus, he can be back road. It's not a bow, but it's close. You got edge to heal a Lamia harp or whatever it is, a charm harp from a Lamia. Whatever. Our runners are going to go and do different things here. We have one in Mechalink going to Troya, going to
mhm.
get the freaky item. We have John Burkhead heading straight to Eblin, going to do some looting in one of the most popular locations this tournament.
I don't blame them. I mean, you have an edge. It's we've talked about this. There's a small list of characters that Eblin can be very, boom or really big boom for, and Edge does fit that list.
Yeah, edge, find ninja swords, full moons, good darts, any of those types of things, and you're quite thrilled about it.
Hmm.
So that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so far, John coming up empty here. Mecha coming up with a non-key item, I believe, from the turn-in with Edward. Excuse me, it was a tower key. My
Tower
bad.
Cape. Yeah.
Which is effectively useless right now. But we also see Mechalink
Mhm.
joining John Burkhead
Ooh.
in Eblin.
One thing I did notice John pick up a glass hat early on, which, if you want to take a swing at one of these trap chests, back rowing and, like you said, those stardust and bombs, maybe you could do something silly and maybe take a shot at one of these early.
Yeah, I could definitely get cheeky with, well, especially with a ribbon too.
Yeah.
That's interesting. A lot of potential here to take on maybe like a few lucky rolls, and that
hmm
Charm Claw actually presents a way through both ogres and stalemen, combined with Edge's flame ability or the big bomb.
Yeah.
So there's some potential friskiness for our runners here if they really want to push Eblin early, or
hmm
if they're just going to go more traditional and loot and be gone.
Yeah. It's a dangerous road to tread. I mean, I'm obviously, I'm a huge fan of Evelyn. Um, but I look at this with two characters. Boy, would I love a third or a fourth character before I do those traps, because that early experience can, I mean, you find, a Quack Kid, you find Rosa, you find anybody that a few levels can, do some amazing things for. It feels really bad if, you start taking swings at these chests, and then you go and find a character that, boy, I wish I had those 10 levels on this character.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something where with especially like a Porum, who after 10 levels will have Berserk and Exit,
hmm
Rosa, who will have Berserk at exactly level 20, Kane, who will be able to wield a defense sword, a poison axe, whatever you want to put on him.
Yeah.
Those are all characters that would benefit quite a bit from those trap chests. Not to mention this Yang would benefit a fair amount.
hmm
But we are coming up pretty empty in Eblin for this exact party. We found a couple defense swords and things like that. A dancing dagger, a thunderclaw, full moon.
Full
The
moon.
basement had the goods. So John
Yeah.
getting paid by going through all of Eblin has a pretty significant loot advantage early on over Mecha here.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't underestimate the power of that. I mean, we all know Edge is one of, if not the probably best starting characters in this flag set. Having access to back row him, especially with that, glass hat, ribbon, whatever else, he's going to be nigh unkillable. So you're going to be able to run through a lot of this early game with no problems. Full Moon, obviously great for floating enemies like Plague, Mylon Z, so he turned out very well.
Yeah, finding that full moon is definitely a boon for John Birckhead. He also opts not to do the public treasury, so no public treasury. I don't believe either runner decided to loot it. But we are getting a shop check in Troya from John Birckhead and a peek at Hobbs for Mechalink, and we are rewarded with a potential Rosa. I do wonder if we get an early dart of a defense sword here.
I wouldn't surprise. Also, that Stardust item.
Yeah.
Little extra damage on that back orb, and then fire a Stardust to finish off the fight. That's possible. So
Yeah,
I go ahead.
that edge just hit for 30 damage. Yeah, here comes.
Must have started with a claw.
Yeah, here comes that dart on a defense sword. I do not blame them at all here for doing this. You want this Rosa, and you want this Rosa now and forever. And I really like this decision to Jahit one of those two defense swords that was found.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they sell for a lot of money. Yes, they translate at like 13-point insert number here sirens and all that, but this is about going fast. So get over your attachment to the money side of it and just end the fight as fast as possible. Because you don't want to sit there with those orbs and just continually let them do their spiel. So.
Yeah, now I will say on John Birckhead's side, there might be a different tactic here. Because of that full moon, you may see a hit or two to the back orbs, and then that Stardust that you talked about get used, saving a defense sword dart because of that full moon being found. So I'm interested to see if there is that change in the two runners, which could be pretty big. An extra defense sword is no joke. That's 3,000 extra damage that John Birckhead could have available to him should he opt to save a dart here.
Yeah, and we all know very well where that 3,000 damage can come in very handy for. We've seen enough back attack Vals to ruin many runners' lives. Uh, one Chuck defense sword shuts her down very quickly. So
Yeah. I think that's going to do, what, 2,800 of the 3,000, and then you just throw literally anything else or hope you can poke one or two times and get through it.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I definitely think that would be a good spot to use it. Also, if it's something like a Demist even, or a Ruby, there's a lot of things at back attack early on that are very nice to just throw things at until they go away.
Yep, very much so. So, and yeah, it's don't underestimate the power of shortening a fight. You bring up Demist, and I mean the difference between that dart and waiting for a mist phase to go through. I mean, that's when you're running like this caliber of racing, that amount of time matters.
Absolutely. And a runner like Mechalink, especially, who's been around the block and has played this game for a very long time at this point, very well knowledged, certainly is going to have that ability to recognize speed. JohnBirckhead, a little bit newer as far as a runner is concerned, but has been putting on a heck of a show this tournament, as well as doing some ping puff type events during the regular season of Free Enterprise, if you will. So both runners very well versed at this point in what they need to do to go fast. And picking up that Slumber Sword is going to be nice for both of them as well. That's one of the better early game darts, usually giving you between 13 and 1,500 damage with a base level edge.
Yep. But it looks like we got to sit here through. I'm not sad to see him here now. It can get way worse depending on where this guy is. So the fact that he's here right now is fantastic. I'd love to see him gone.
Yeah, Golbez is a jerk. When Golbez says why, the answer is because you're a jerk. So yeah, our runners are going to be through this quick enough. I am a little surprised to see a Star Veil come out from a mecha here, just because of the low magic power early on, but it is a safety strat. Making sure that Edge doesn't take, for example, a virus followed by a Lit 3. I don't think it would kill him, but it's better to have a living Edge than a dead Edge. And oh baby, how about a Darkness Crystal?
Ooh, that's tempting.
I mean, I would be throwing myself moonward at this point, because I would want to peek for one of two characters. We alluded to Eblin before, how you love your Eblin.
Yep.
Cecil also loves his Eblin.
He does.
And Fusoya, should he be on the moon, is Fusoya.
Yeah.
Those are the two characters you really want to see.
Yeah. No, very much so. Obviously, it is a gated shop up there as well. So all of a sudden now, Sirens, Bacchus, Hourglass 2s, those are all on the table too. So, especially with looting Eblin, you've got access to money.
Yep.
So, having those early, I mean, you can pull a 10 stack of Bacchus at 10 minutes into a seed and turn Edge loose with weaponry. I mean, that's big.
I mean, even finding an Hourglass, you have a glass hat back row. Maybe you have the J items and the ability to get through the hair dryers, get 30,000 XP on Rosa, 30,000 XP on Yang, and a chance, a fairly decent chance at a tier 7 or tier 8 item as well. So there's a lot of potential with what could be up in the Moon Shop.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to be no surprise. It's obviously Mecha launching the whale probably going up. John's probably going to be right behind here, just because, like you said, the amount of possibilities up on the moon. With it this Earth, you can't pass that up.
In John's situation, there is a world where he doesn't go up to the moon yet. He wants to go do things like Fabul and things like Baron Inn, just try to clear some checks.
Yeah.
But does look like he is opting for the moon. The reason I bring up that alternative is he has the firepower with a full moon and a dancing dagger and a glass hat on Edge. He's not going to die. You put him in the back row, he's going to clear every single thing by his darn self on the overworld. So in John's situation, I could see plays being made to avoid the moon, but I think it's a conservative route, and John is a slightly more conservative player for being new. He doesn't tend to take risks that a lot of players will. So that's there's the man. So
well, Well, so I was gonna paint a picture there where, obviously Cecil being on the moon kind of drives you to Ordeals now,
Sure
sooner
does.
than later. If he wasn't, and you pull a magma key and in, whatever party like this, you don't Ordeals isn't like completely at the top of your mind because you don't have a party that takes advantage of it. So finding Cecil up here now puts that back on the table.
Yeah, and there are a lot of runners who like to fade Ordeals when they don't have Cecil or Tella or Fusoya. No one that benefits from the three bosses, the clearing of the trial, etc.
Yeah.
For me, I find it very difficult to fade what we call a Sphere Zero check, which is an ungated overworld check, just because of the propensity for it to have key items. But if you fade it and you get away with it, you can save 2-3 minutes. And with the amount of races we've seen decided by 2 or 3 minutes,
Yeah,
I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, well, like fading the Twin Harp, you regret it afterwards, but hey, you did it, so.
Yeah. You got to commit to the bit.
Yeah, so.
So if you're in the runner's shoes here, Martin, are you beelining Ordeal straight to Eblin?
I would go. You have Rosa. You have Edge, you have Cecil, you have a character that is in all reality expendable later on, i.e. Yang. Yang will go away for somebody else. You have a defense sword, you have a glass hat. Cecil at level 1 can literally play cover Cecil until you hopefully find a shiny stick in there. Yeah, it's Ordeals, take a straight right turn and go right into Evelyn and pop those 3 chests.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. You back row the Cecil in particular with the glass hat. In Mecha's case, also purchased 3 black belts and 3 headbands, so really gearing up to do a number on the overworld. Frankly, I don't hate it, because if you don't find adamant armors, black belts are oftentimes some of the best equipment you can find outside of power shirts, but you also ain't going to find those in shops. So,
John, you're a man of the people. I appreciate you. Thank you for checking the Chocobo Forest. It was an exit. Exits are useful, especially in this party.
The power play would have been to use the exit to get out of the Chocobo Forest.
That actually would have been amazing, but we can't have it all here, folks. I mean, we try, but...
we do have, after a small bit of divergence with some shopping from Mecha and that little bit of Chocobo looting from John, both runners heading up the mountain of Ordeals, going to turn their Dark Knight Cecil into a Paladin Cecil. We shall see who gets through this first. Mecha's going to have the overall gear advantage, but John still has that Full Moon Dancing Dagger edge. So we'll see who's able to prevail here. Neither one has a mute knife of note that I've seen. So if these are the 2 guards, which they are, this is a kind of annoying fight. But does have a mute bell. Very heads up use here to shut them down.
Yeah, this is one of those fights. I mean, yeah, it's a fairly straightforward fight, but at the same time, I mean, sitting through the whole size, biggie, if they fire the animations and all that, it's like, if you have a quick way to, even a mute bell just shuts down the whole ability for them to proc that. So it's a very good use of one.
Yeah, we saw Stardust come out on JohnBirckhead's side. We're seeing Flame from both runners. We saw the mute bell from both runners. So a lot of duplicating actions here. Big Bomb coming out. The runners just trying to make haste through this fight and do what they can to get through it. It's very well done.
J Adams are like moonveils. You can't take them with you at the end of the seed. So you might as well use them on something. So
yeah. And their greatest effect is early on.
Yeah.
No save, it looks like, at least on John's side. We'll see. And
Oh.
so this is one of the fights we talked about, a back attack, where having a defense sword is pretty nice.
About 3,000 HP. And here it goes.
Oh, the slumber sword goes. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if we will see the second defense sword on Mecha's side, knowing what it's going to do for damage and
Mhm.
knowing what the health is here, and that
Yeah.
might come down to one of those experience things.
Yep. Okay, so
Uh,
for anybody that doesn't know how darts work, it's a very simple formula. It's the attack power of the weapon multiplied by Edge's level plus a random number between 0 and 255. So you have a pretty good feel if you know the attack power of certain weaponry to gauge exactly how much a dart is going to
yeah, absolutely, and it looks like John is going to be saving that defense sword, I think, for Cecil to equip,
do.
which means he may not fish Eblin. I do wonder about this.
It's it's an interesting call. Look, I like the levels because it's, at least for me, it serves two purposes. One, if it ends up being a hook route, you've got your levels ready to just go dive the hook immediately. But I mean, we can't understate. You get a shiny stick or an adamant armor on Cecil. I call it a force multiplier. Most people call it severely broken.
Yes.
So
And so we do see the defense sword being darted by Mecha.
yeah.
So John is up a defense sword. Mecha picked up some time there. This tells me that Mecha is going fishing. If you are willing to dart that defense sword, you are on your way to Eblin after this because you want to find that force multiplier, as you have alluded to. Whereas on John's side, I think it's, again, the more conservative route is keeping that power. Defense sword is not a huge power spike, but it's a power spike.
Yes.
It's not a holy sword power spike, but it's still pretty good. And I think John's willing to settle for that, whereas Mecha's going for the home run here, I think. And I like both plays, to be frank.
Yeah, very much so. Only a ribbon, though, coming out of this, so our underground access lies elsewhere.
That would put it at Fabul or Baron Inn, correct?
Yeah.
Or some chain through them.
Yeah. Depending, obviously, you talk about Eblin, Baron, pretty straightforward shot from Eblin, so I could see that Baron Inn being the next play for the runners that go to Eblin. From here, it is the straight shot south to Fabul defense, so you might see some deviation after this. Also, another boss I love to see off the table. This one.
Yeah, and one of the things about this as well is because of the way that John is anchored, having that edge in the middle, Ogopogo never even got to wave. And he got an entire cycle of actions through and 2 attacks with edge. Whereas you saw the double big wave come out for Mechalink because he has Rosa in the middle. Not being able to have that edge in the back row, that full moon still paying dividends for JohnBirckhead right now. Was able to pick up about 15 seconds on that fight. And those incremental gains from that one piece of equipment, continuing to build a very small lead at this point for JohnBirckhead. The slimmest of margins, though.
Yeah, but I mean, all you have to do is win by more than 3 seconds, Possum, and it's a win. Otherwise, well, we don't bring up the tie thing because, well, Scala's probably out there and I'm going to get in trouble. But yeah, those exist too, folks.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to anymore. I'm contractually obligated to no longer root for the T word. But there are certainly others out there, you yourself included, who are absolutely allowed to root for them. They will just be bopped with newspapers or other fairly comfy items.
Wait, whoa. I have a question now. You said contractually... oh my god, language hard.
Yes, contractually obligated.
Oh,
I said those 2 words. You're welcome to try again.
Yeah, I know. I thought possums couldn't read, though. How did you read a contract?
My lawyer spoke it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
that was sophisticated, Possum. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that's unexpected. Why do you need a lawyer?
I mean, I've been rummaging through dumpsters all my life. Why would I not need a lawyer? Do you know the things I've found?
Okay, that's actually fair. I'll allow that one. But hey, Johnson Baron Inn. Oh boy. I spy with my little eye a mute knife that was just purchased. I know you are not a fan of shopping. I get it.
I'm a fan of meat knives, though.
Dude, there are some times that shopping is a good thing. So that qualifies as one of them.
Yeah, and that was in Silvera, actually, which I will admit, I
That's
don't
a
know the last time I've shopped in Silvera, so kudos to Mecha, because
yeah.
that mute knife, it can pay huge dividends.
It's a weird stop. I've tried for years now to get better at this, but turning in the tails, trying to actually land the hovercraft there and maybe poke my head in if I'm looking for one specific item. I'm still terrible at it though. I know, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense though, because you're trying to look for something to help a little bit with what we kind of telegraphed here that Mecha was going to go and do the thing. And the thing in this case is go and do Eblin. By again darting that defense sword, we kind of knew exactly what was happening here. And we have John Birckhead finding a pink tail. That means our underground access is through Fabul. It also means we have, what, a 50% chance, give or take, that it's a hook and an adamant being available? That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and if Mecha hits a shiny stick in Eblin, oh boy.
Yeah. Now, also, oh boy, was that an Edward pickup instead of a Yang that I saw on John Birckhead?
I mean, okay, look. It's the early game. Do you really care about an anchor? No. Could you find a spoon? Soon TM? Yes. And he's like a glass cannon version of Cecil. So it's great. It's a lot of fun.
That's fair. Oh, we get a flame coming out from Mechalink, and we have two cats that did not perish. Angry cats go bluster. Rosa has been blustered. Yeah, that's not great.
No, for anybody that hasn't seen this fight, by the way, if you're going to poke the kitty, make sure it stays down, because if it's not good.
Yeah, cats, kind of like birds, are jerks.
Very much so.
Yeah. So now we could get the super sneaky tech here, where if the turn order is correct, we could get Edge sneaking a harp here and putting it on Yang.
Nah.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Nah. This is a Holy Sword dive. I get it.
Like, nah.
We do see double longswords being purchased for John Birckhead, though, from Fabul. That's going to be a pretty good increase in animation speed and a decent increase in power as well. But more importantly, on Mechalink's side, that's a crystal ring. Had to build that one up, y'all.
It's a great item.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just, well, not what we're looking for.
And a free fight. Okay, we have Edward being dropped here, which means that we are committing to an early Edward anchor at 9 agility. I don't hate it. I'm just a little surprised by it. As someone who loves anchoring, this is a long-term play.
Okay, so let's paint a picture here. If this is a hook route, you have your anchor solidified for the hook route. If it's magma, you're gonna take swing. You have a tower key, so you're gonna take swings at things like top of tower. You still want an anchor, you know. And anything in the march, still want an anchor. So
definitely.
I'm not seeing like a reason why this is like terrible yet.
Well, there's our adamant armor. I mean, there's our hook route.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is naturally now just going to drive John Birckhead over to Eblin anyway. And I have to imagine with an adamant armor, you just slap that on probably Edge, actually, for the fights in Eblin, and take it off of him and put it on Cecil if you find a Holy Sword. I think that's how I would approach it, but I'm also a fan of moving adamant armors around, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that. Yeah. So that's how I'd handle it. How would you handle it?
So everything you said, yes, except for the fact what we talked about at the beginning of the seed, where we found all the equipment necessary to do all the fights. So it doesn't really matter who it goes. Well, that's a white shirt.
Hey, that can go on Cecil.
It can. I understand what happens when you start, moving adamants around and how resistances go a little funny. I don't think it really matters. I mean, you could put it on Cecil and leave it there for the rest of the game, because you have items and weaponry to take care of each of these 3 fights.
That's true. I don't think in John's case he has a mute knife, but the ogres are kind of pushovers anyway. So
Exactly.
they're the least scary of the 3 fights. They can't put you to sleep. They can't bluster you. I guess with an adamant armor, they can't do that anyway, but, it's one of those things where the ogres are whatever. Yeah, they're going to perish, and you'll be fine. But speaking of those ogres, Mechalink getting through the 3rd trap chest. We've seen a crystal ring, we've seen a white shirt, so that's going to be a super kitted out Rosa. Our 3rd chest is an Excalibur, so the fishing expedition has paid out.
There you go.
If JohnBirckhead does not go to these trap chests here, that could be a huge potential issue for him down the road. Defense sword is nice. Excal is really nice.
It really is, and I think he's going in. He's going in. Okay.
Yeah, he got the memo that when you have the guy, you got to try to find the sword for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? Like, I mean, if Evelyn turns out to be a hard miss, we know it doesn't. But if it does turn out to be that, I mean, there's still options. There's still possible ways of you to get one. Obviously the Forge is a required objective in this one. So yeah, Excal will be in your future at some point. You could try a gun for the ogres going down the hook route. You could... I've been so far as to, hey, if you have a Thunderclaw, maybe open 2 or 3 chests on your way into the tower.
Yep.
Into Lower Babel. Maybe see if you hit an eyeball and possibly hit one. Very low percent chance, but it's there. So...
Yeah,
but yeah, I would say not having one, though, that just...
Yeah, not having one versus having one. A holy sword, and this is going to sound pretty wild, having one versus not having one can make a bigger difference in many seeds than having or not having an adamant armor, because of the sheer amount of extra damage that is done. So that being an equalizer is probably more important here than any other item that could be found, especially with a free adamant armor on the table. So we have Mechalink chopping through these remaining fights while JohnBirckhead is going to get through these trap chests. I expect we're going to see John underground or making his way down the hook route slightly faster, in large part due to that full moon he picked up early. But this is just a Fabul defense separating our runners. The major difference now is going to be anchoring. No anchor picked up for Mechalink, at least not yet, opting out of the Edward and going to stick with more of a traditional anchoring setup.
Yeah, I mean, that's also not a terrible option. When you see the pink tail and you're like, all right, I've got an Adamant Cecil now online, and so now he has Excal Adamant Cecil online. There aren't many things on the hook route, even though we all know exactly how bad a hook route can be if you're not anchored properly. But there aren't many things that completely terrify you, especially with Golbez off the table. There are some fights you have to get a little cute with on agility to get through it, but it's not like Adamant Cecil just gets through things, and it's not even... it's not difficult. So, you get underground. You have a tower key, so you could go up the tower, or you could just go straight to Dwarf and try to find your character there, whether it's an anchor, a foo, whatever you want it to be. You could gun there and do that immediately too. So I'm not against not taking an anchor. I personally function better with one.
Same here.
So it's runner's preference.
I think in this case, the only thing that realistically punishes not having an anchor is Kainatsu.
Yeah.
And that's only if you don't have the timing down or don't have access to lightning. Otherwise, there's not really anything that's going to make a huge difference. Like maybe Ogopogo could cause some issues, but it's basically one boss, and it's Kainatsu, and even that is still doable because Cecil's just going to go burr.
Yeah, it's for once again, anybody doesn't know how Kainatsu works, it's 4 to 6% of his current HP total when the wave fires. So if you can knock enough HP off him before the first wave goes, enough levels on Cecil, he's probably going to survive it. Obviously, the rest of the characters will implode, but that's a future problem.
And our tracker Twisted Flax bringing something up. Kainatsu was in the Baron Inn already, so
there you go.
That's off the table. So thank you, Twisted Flax, for keeping us in line.
Yeah.
Because that's not a concern. So our runners really don't have much to be afraid of.
No,
so thank you again for pointing that out.
Yeah. Also, thank you, S. Brent, for rolling this. This has been good so far. This has been like, I'm not gonna say keys of the kingdom, but it's darn close. So yeah, please go make sure to follow, Twisted Flax, Grunt, Possum. Possum's good people. He'll say otherwise. He's good people.
All right, I'll admit I'm good people only if you do, Martin, and that you should also be followed.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, that was static. I must have pushed a button or something. What?
Hey, you're one of the 12 most interesting Elden Ring streamers I've seen in the last 2 weeks.
I'm not sure how to take that, but thank you. That's a thing. Look, I can die with the best of them, all right? And I can die repeatedly, too.
Oh, I've seen it. So speaking of dying, that's a Dark Elf on the hook route. That is also going to have...
It's going to have a Monday.
Yeah, we talked about Mondays and how for me, this is Monday the 3rd. That Dark Elf is about to have Monday the 1st through 5th.
Yeah, that Excal Adamant. Sorry, not sorry? Because, boy, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, that fight is, normally we'd make a joke and say that fight goes one of two ways. No, it doesn't. That fight does not go one of two ways. There's no you win or you die. Dark Elf dies.
I do see ninja swords and drain spears at the old weapon shop there in that one.
Yeah, the ninja swords, I know we saw JohnBirckhead pick one up. I don't know if we saw Mechalink pick one up, but those ninja swords definitely going to come in handy. The drain spears are good to know. Maybe you pit stop before going to the moon. But probably neither one really that required right now. It looks like Mechalink does find a Staleman chest, just opening random chests on the way down. So we shall see what the Stalemen have. Maybe an extra boon here for Mechalink.
Yeah, and regarding those drain spears too, a couple of the bosses that we both know very well that, they work wonders against. Demist, CPU, they're both off the table. So it's a good problem to see those two gone. A lot of bosses that you don't want to see late game are gone.
Well, you can't roll much lower than a tier 4. In fact, you can't roll lower than a tier 4 from the Staleman. A diamond armor. Diamond is a girl's best friend. Diamond is like 27 steps below an adamant armor, so it's definitely not Mechalink's best friend.
Sells for money.
Well, I guess that's the only redeeming quality.
I'm trying to find the bright side here. Like, money. It's worth 2.5 sirens?
Not worth the time out of 10?
Yeah, sure.
We do have Mylon's zombie dance party over at the King Queen spot. This is also going to melt, and this fight will be over shortly.
Yeah. It's all, it's sad, but it's nice. It's sad because we all love seeing disastrous hook routes. It's nice for the runners that, you actually have a hook route where you don't have to go back and save. It's literally, just go right in the next fight and blow it up.
Yeah, and something I want to call out here as well, a little bit of inventory management going on in between actions and fights for JohnBirckhead. And we've seen a little bit of it with Mechalink as well, that both of them are making the most of every little bit of time they can to do what they need to do. And we also see Rosa going into slot 2 here. Now, I don't know if she's going to be relative agility 1 to go first. I think that's still going to be Edge and then probably Cecil. But it's to just try to get her in the queue faster to Zerk up Cecil, because we did not find Bacchus wines on this hook route.
Right. I mean, the great part is once you do that exact action, you might as well just put down the controller, because guess what? I guess you have to kill Edge. So here, hold on a second. The controller will be down in a second, I swear.
Now we do see a power shirt get picked up for Mechalink as well, so that could be
Oh,
very nice
nice.
for that edge as a secondary Zerker. But yeah, this Dark Elf, this
I-
is where we're about to see some pain. Show me quad nines. Oh, is that 86?
Oh,
Do better.
it's mediocre, Cecil.
Oh, 96, I guess.
Yeah, look, it's a running joke. You know where I'm going with this is that when you're going to do some eggs with an Excal Cecil and he can't hit for the 1800 damage, it's like, really? You have a holy sword and you can't do this? What is going on with you right
Well, eggs are probably strong against the Excalibur, so I mean,
now?
I can see it. Does that really exploit a
I
racial weakness? I don't think it
I
does.
I deserve that one. Thanks, Possum.
You set yourself up, my friend.
Hmm.
We do see Mechalin getting through the Mylon and friends, while John Burkett does get underground about the 37-minute mark, and
Oh,
we see 4 guards at the top of the tower. So I expect a pretty speedy trip right up that tower, having a
yeah.
key already and a freebie at the top.
Yeah, you know what? The shortest distance between 2 points is, right? Nothing. So the airship gonna go up, and the airship gonna go right back down.
And more importantly, you get the superior airship to free Enterprise. Excuse me, the Enterprise. Yeah, free Enterprise. Nice words. Yeah, it
Wow.
happens to all of us. You get the Enterprise instead of the Falcon, so you don't have to worry about awkward landings and things like that. You just
Mm,
plop it down, do the tower key, get your superior airship, and be done with it.
there you go. All right, mecha side. Yep, we all know this ditty. Berserk the guy with a very large sword, and just sit back and enjoy the fireworks.
And he has a headband on, so maybe we get that bonus multiplier and we get to quad nines. That's what I want to see. There
There
we
it is.
go. Thank you,
There it
Mecha Link.
is.
Man of the people.
Yeah.
I like big numbers. I don't have to count that way. I just know that's the maximum damage. I see those 4 squiggly little things that
Mhm.
everyone calls nines, and I know they can't be higher. So I
I'm,
know
I'm
it's doing something right if I see that.
Awesome. I'm telling you, someday we're gonna have break damage limit in Final Fantasy IV, and your mind's gonna be blown when you see like Wyvern at a high magic spot and the numbers it puts out, and you're gonna be like, "That's what? Excuse me? What
I've
is
been
this?"
told that Wyvern can hit for 42,000 damage at the Ogopogo spot if
Yeah.
the damage were uncapped. I
Yeah.
don't want to live that life, Martin.
Hey, there's no kill like overkill, right? I want to see the big numbers.
So we do have Mechalink about a minute and a half behind John Burkhead getting underground. Not too much ground to make up at all, though. A lot of this is going to come down to who is more efficient with their Holy Sword Paladin.
Mhm.
And we'll see if Mecha follows in John's footsteps, or if we get like a Dwarf Castle, a Fey March, or a Sheila 1 check here. But I do like, at least at this point, the routing of the tower in. That's 2 more checks. Try to hit a pan before running down Sylph Cave. And with it being a freebie as well, I think it's just way too easy to just head on up here and take care of this.
And the fact it's an objective. It's like, oh, it's free. Wait, I have the tower. Oh, wait, that's an object. Oh, and why am I going anywhere else right now? Hold on.
Yeah, and again, as Twisted Flax, our tracker, pointed out, rule number 1, do your objectives. So
Yeah,
can't hate it.
yeah. Well, I don't know, unless you're a certain harumph and like this rewards you with a twin harp, and then you might hate it. But that's a whole different thing.
Well, Magnus, Cave Magnus is not an objective here, so fading of the Twin Harp is on the table.
It is.
Whether wise or unwise remains to be seen by whatever the seed has in store for us, but it could be out there.
It could. It could. Okay.
Well
I'm
played,
done.
Martin.
I'm done.
Burn the witch.
Thank you. I'll be here all night, folks.
You know what? And my emo can stay in chat, and we will continue to be part of the Fade Harp Club. Because so what's going to be from the super cannon here? Since you have that crystal ball,
Oh,
give me a
God.
boss and a key item.
Oh, what would I want from the super cannon?
I need the boss first. That one's coming up quick.
Give me Ruby.
Nope.
Nope, that's DKC. No, I'm better with items than I am.
Okay.
God, what would I want from here? I'm looking at objectives and
I mean,
like,
pan is what I would want personally.
I mean the pan's no, you know what? Let's make it a decision because this would actually be fun. Give him the spoon. Because I want to see if
Drama.
John all of a sudden thinks about Spoonward as the second DPS, or even third technically with Edge.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Without a cursed ring, may want to preserve that anchor. That would be quite the decision that John would have to make. Yeah. But we do get at the 42-minute mark our first objective lit up, as that is objective number 4, destroy the super cannon for JohnBirckhead. Mechalink not far behind though.
No, not at all. And we'd like to say thank you, obviously, to the runners for, actually making Twisted Flax finally do work at the 42-minute mark.
Well, to be fair, he has pushed 9 other buttons for key items so far.
That is true, but I'm looking at the numbers. They're very nice numbers too. I do enjoy this layout. It's a piece of work.
I like rainbows.
I would say you're a possum. You like pretty colors.
Shiny. I like shiny.
Yeah, especially if they're red, like buttons.
Buttons. But yeah, okay. We're about to see what we're going to get from this this super cannon. Do we get objectives chaining together as so often happens, or do we end up with a zonk, like
a white shirt?
Well, a white shirt would be fine. I was thinking like more diamond armor.
Oh,
the Earth Crystal. So that's not only an objective, but that is also the treasury. One might even say that's probably jackpot.
Yeah.
And 2 cracks at a Fusoya, where you could be looking to replace that Rosa with a Fu without having the giant on the table as an objective. I would probably consider a Fusoya over a Rosa here and basically make that my endgame party. Yeah. Especially with the crystal ring from Eblin, you can get Fusoya to relative agility 1 to a 9 agility Edward.
Yep. So, all right, question time. Here we go. You have the Twin Harp. Probably going to be the only point in the game where it makes sense to route this in. Do you do it?
Yes, because you're going to be routing it in after doing either the Fey March or the Sylph Cave. You're going to be super low HP anyway, so it is the optimal time to do it. And it's really hard to fade overworld key item checks just because of how the fill algorithm works in the game. So you're really given all of the reasons to go do the Twin Harp. I know, coming from me, it's probably shocking to some folks out there, but this is the right time to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And how about more objectives? There's a Sand Ruby just hanging out in the Fey March.
They just leave them lying around, it's a thing. So, all right, so, okay. Obviously, neither of these are objectives. If there's something free in the merch, do you take a swing at it? It's the argument of time versus... I'm a fan of the one-trip Fey March. Like, if I have the power and the ability to do it, I'm going to do it because I don't want to be beaten by it. But at the same time, if it's something ugly, I will wave at it as I cast Exit and run away.
What's ugly with an Excalibur Adamant Cecil?
It's not... Well, okay, so ugly, time-consuming.
So like the Gauntlet?
What's going to take you a minute to get through?
The Gauntlet? Maybe Pale Dim?
That'd be one of them.
Ogo Pogo?
Ogo's off the table.
We've seen Ogo.
Yeah. Yeah, that Odin is fast.
Yeah, but John is anchored.
Yeah.
So we have Mecha hot on John's heels now. Basically, our runners are in the same location, so Mecha is being a little more efficient with his checks right now.
Are we going to Berserk Edge and take a swing? I mean, it's 25,000 HP. It's doable.
Yeah, absolutely is doable. Punchy.
I was going to say, that Berserk has got a fire, though.
Yeah, the one kind of awkward part about this spot is The Zantetsuken here is going to do the party's HP times about 3
Everything.
or 4, maybe more. It's going to be ugly if it fires, and I think the battle speed is just set up in a situation where this is not going to turn out well. I just don't think the damage output is there. I think it needs to go on this cycle.
Look at that.
That was, I think, one attack off of that going really upside down for John.
Yeah.
So nicely done to get through that. I don't know that Mech is going to be able to get through that unless it's on like battle speed 6. So that's a good haul there. And we did see D-Lunars from Mechalink on the other side. So I don't know if Mech is going to go back after that. Or if he's going to go after that Asura spot. Didn't even peek to Sparkle.
Didn't even look. Yeah.
Because if that's Plague, I don't think we've seen Plague, and that would be free with his party setup.
Yeah,
so that's a curious choice.
I hope it doesn't come back to bite him. Even Lunars, I mean, just sit there, wait the 5 turns, put up the Veils, turn them into frogs, and then turn Excal Cecil loose on them. I mean, yeah, it's time, but it's probably the fastest way to get through that fight.
Yeah, I think without a Crystal Sword. Now, if this was a Crystal Sword, Cecil, it would hit the undead weakness.
Yeah,
of
then
the
you can just berserk him and turn him loose, and
and the fight is trivial at that point. But with an Excal Cecil, you do have to think about this fight. It's not just autopilot.
No.
So I don't hate it from a fade standpoint, but I would really still have rather at least seen it peaked for the knowledge. I'm a huge proponent of getting that knowledge. And this is a little awkward on Mecha's side. This is going to be a single Veil, so going to need to get a little lucky here. Hits the first one.
Alright.
It's a 50-50 in his favor, and gets the second one, so fortune favors the bold. And Mecha gets both frogs off a single Veil Cecil. Well done.
Very nice.
And
although I guess you just hold. I mean, at this point, the experience, does it really matter in the scheme of things? I mean, it's nothing that an egg won't take care of or whatever. So I was almost going to say, get people back to life, at least the ones you want the experience for. But,
yeah, I mean, I would want to have the XP on Rosa specifically.
Probably.
But I wouldn't care about it on Edge or Young.
Yeah.
And that's just a me thing. I want my white mages getting to Cure 3, Cure 4 as fast as possible. We do see, meanwhile, on JohnBirckhead's side, the Sand Ruby has been turned in, so that's objective number 2 complete. Does not take the Cane, as Cane has basically outlived his usefulness in this type of seed. Edge and Cecil are just going to do it better.
All right, Sheila won. Is Sheila going to make us work for it today? What do you think? Vanilla Pan? Make it go all the way back?
I think, no. I think Sheila's just going to zonk here and give us, like, an Artemis Bow.
Okay. All right.
The package is not required. Well, there's a spoon, so there's your your call. I mean, that's technically like French vanilla, right?
Yeah, it's close.
But 2 meaningless key items, as far as our runners are concerned. But does anyone decide that spoon word is on the table?
I mean, John's got him in his party, and Earth Crystal could shift you out of an anchor into, I mean... So about
no
that twin harp. About that twin harp.
Looks like we are going to be able to rate that treasury, though. So as soon as John gets to talk to the lady with the Earth Crystal, or turn in the Earth Crystal, I think we get some awesome sounds here.
Rate that treasury!
You know, Possum, I've been doing this for a while. I don't think I've ever seen a treasury that didn't, like, the utter and complete lack of anything armor related. I think the best thing was the karate shirt out of that thing. And the rest were all like weapons and J items.
I don't hate the heroine robe.
Yeah.
That's the nicest thing I can say about that treasury.
but
Like-
but white mage, like, I
Well,
understand she goes
but-
Q. Okay. It serves
If
one
you-
purpose. It gets her to RA1 so she can cast Berserk faster on the character that actually matters.
Now we do see Edward getting the spoon.
Yes. Yes. Good job, John.
So now, by virtue of fading that D-Lunars that we know is not required, JohnBirckhead is ahead a treasury and a walk-up Zot over Mechalink here. So has regained some of that very early lead that he had, making the right fade so far, but now the Twin Harp, excuse me, the Twin Harp looms very large.
I'm curious. I want to see what happens with this Edward. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it could be an Edward that just stays on the ground even with a spoon.
That'd be really. I mean, that is like the ultimate face check dart. So
we do have, however, a Baigen here in the Tower of Zot, and meanwhile, we do have Mechalink making what, in this case, I think, is the more conservative play, which is going after this Twin Harp. So I wonder if John might be feeling behind in some way, or maybe feeling ahead enough that he's willing to fade some things and just try to just gun it for objectives and see where it leaves him. That might be what's on the table here. It'll be interesting to ask.
The one thing I didn't notice, did Mecha dump a save?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So that will be an automatic reset if this turns out to be a zonk. So
yeah. So this is Save Scum setup for Mechalink. Absolutely.
Good. Excellent.
JohnBirckhead did lose the 1 in 4 for Eddie
boy.
to get XP, but is rewarded with Fusoya. So I think you see Rosa yeeted from the party here in favor of Fusoya.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have coffins or kamikazes? We do. One of the cool things about this cutscene is you get back any items that you use here, so that kamikaze is going to go back into Mechalink's inventory. And I think this is the part where we just keep talking for the next 2 minutes, right? And we just don't let there be any dead air no matter what, Martin?
No, because you talked about newspapers earlier, and newspaper paper cuts hurt. I don't need any more of those in my life, so I'm good. But thank you, Pop.
I tried.
Yeah. Music. Yay.
Enjoy.
Boy, look at that mute knife putting in work. Yay, we can get underground. Woo!
It is a key item.
It is, and it's 9 for Mecha, so I don't blame the exit here and walking this one out.
Yeah, it's what, 40 seconds? between exit and travel time. Maybe a little less than that to keep the key item. I don't hate it.
No.
Especially if you think you're going to end up on the moon soon.
Mhm.
But oh hey, speaking of objectives that just keep turning into objectives, this is why you chase your objectives.
Yeah, because chains. Of course they chain. Why wouldn't they chain?
Yeah,
They always chain.
That's a pan from Zot. So this chain has been what? Super Cannon to Tower of Zot, now to the pan. So if this is what, the Baron key?
Sure.
You're looking
afterwards? Yeah, why
you're
not?
looking really really straight at a moon dive at that point, knowing how terminal key items show up on the moon.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see what John's routing in particular is here, because he's left now a Twin Harp and a King of Summon Monsters on the table. Chad is pointing out Baron could give both parts of the Forge, and he could just be in go mode, which would be ludicrous.
Could, absolutely. So, Possum, we gleaned over a question, though. I did have a question for you after that amazing music I just heard. What would happen if Realm sketched you?
Probably just crashed a game. Isn't that what Sketch does?
I mean, if it's used incorrectly, yes, but...
Isn't sketching me using it incorrectly?
Look. Okay.
When have you ever seen possum art other than on a can?
That's fair. That's fair, and we all know what a possum in a can and what that implies, but oh boy.
Yeah, thank you, Georgia.
Yeah. I do like Realm, though. Realm is fantastic. Great music.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's see what this pan turns into. A rune axe, but it's an objective. And I missed what the other turn-in was while we were waxing poetic about sketching me.
Nothing important from what I'm seeing. So.
Okay. Artemis arrows. I mean, not awful. We have Artie heroine robe. Well, there's no Rosa in the party anymore because John is going Sid, Fusoya, Cecil, Edge, which is one of my preferred parties in this flag set, so I don't hate that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, let's face it, Pale Dim and Wyvern are still out there, so I mean, those arrows could see some use.
And we do have John going straight to the moon here. So no Twin Harp, no King of Summon Monsters, no Dwarf for either runner either, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
I mean, you look at this party, it's DPS, Ultimate Utility Mage, and 3 Agility Sid. Like, this is about what you need to blow up a moon.
You just wish you had Bacchus wine.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's missing.
Yeah.
Because with this party right now, like, you need Fusoya in the back row, and he needs to be casting Berserk immediately every fight.
Yeah.
And the question is, like, do you put Cecil in the back row as well, or does he stay in the front row? It's just super awkward the way that John has his party organized right now.
I'd say, okay, so you're right. I'd put Fu in 2, I'd go Edge in 3, and Cecil in 4. Fu casts Berserk on Cecil, Edge does whatever Edge does, and by that time Cecil's zerked and away we go. Like, and you have an adamant armor, so the only thing that punches harder than you is going to be at exactly Ogopogo. Maybe Wyvern gets through a bit, maybe Cape Bahama gets through a bit, but Ogopogo's the one that's going to hurt.
Yeah, and we do see exact same, after all of this divergence with characters and everything that everyone's done, we have the same 4. Sid, Fusoya, Edge, and Cecil. Yeah.
Are they wrong? It's a pretty good 4.
That's my favorite 4. Also, welcome on in, Free Enterprise. Thank you for the raid. We have a fantastic race so far going on between Mechalink and JohnBirckhead. Lots of divergence post-hook route here, some interesting fades, but the one thing we do ask from y'all is to please not spoil your race, or else the newspapers will freely flow, much like our runners wish the Bacchus would, which we do not have in the seed from what we can tell, unless it's in Dwarf, which both our runners have faded.
It. I'll pose the question to you, Possum. I know your propensity or lack thereof of shopping. I like checking all the shops underground.
100%.
Because I'm a huge fan of coffins, hourglasses, Bacchus. Fading an item shop underground, that just like that's a non-starter for me. Like,
Only thing I care about is Bacchus wine with this party.
With this, but yeah, absolutely. Like as soon as I find those, you're done. Like sell the farm, get however many 30 of 50 of them,
yeah,
and call it a day.
I believe we saw a friend of Free Enterprise E-Ninja buy 50 in his last race seed, which I adored. I thought that was fantastic.
I'm going to paint chat a picture here. You ready? Here we go. I want you to imagine 50 boxes of wine. That's a lot of wine. And you notice they never say what size the wine is in the game?
Shoutouts to Fusoya, by the way, for missing an off-slot week for JohnBirckhead. You don't see that every day.
No, like off-slot stone.
Stone.
Wait, what?
Much more common. Week,
yeah.
Not very common. Mechalink has decided that he is not going to the moon, though. Is going and turning in that pan. I am curious, do we get the dwarf check after this? Or are we beholden to that fade for both runners? But we do see John taking a second set of gold dragons here. Now, notably, these are on 9 key items, so this is not the be-all, end-all for XP. I wonder if the diminishing returns will start hitting, and he will just carry on to moon spot checks.
Yeah, and you know, I disagree with this, because here's the thing: Crystal Sword Altar is required.
Yeah,
go do it. If it's KI number 10. Literally your dragon fight, for those that don't understand the layout of the moon and everything, you basically, there's 2 teleporters on the left hand side as you walk back to you know the important part of the moon, i.e. ribbon room and all that jazz. The very long stretch where you don't have to take a right turn, that long stretch you can also pull gold dragons there via siren.
Also true.
Yeah, so literally it's like you do the altar. If it's 10 KIs, you're taking maybe 20 steps to get to the point where you can grab the dragons, and now you're at double XP. That little stretch right there.
I think there's also a point to be made that you could reasonably just consider going to the Crystal Sword Altar, doing the objective, going to the White Spear Altar if it misses, and have another chance at 10, and then just taking the ribbon room for 200k XP anyway, and just saying, I don't need to grind, my party is ludicrously overpowered.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paths through this. Again, some of this may simply be John is a little bit newer of a runner. Not to say this is wrong by any means. You want to be comfortable as you're racing. The best thing you can do is be comfortable. So if this is where his comfort is, by all means do this.
Yeah,
but absolutely. I would absolutely be chasing the 10th key item myself here before doing these checks, as opposed to after, or before doing the grind as opposed to after. And hey, a freebie.
That's free is nice. I like free. Yeah.
So,
also, moment to call out Skull and Twisted Blacks. I'm all for the idea of wine and Capri Sun pouches. I'm here for this. Somebody market that.
Yeah, that's a great idea until you're like me and you accidentally, when living in the mountains of New Hampshire many years ago, leave the Capri Sun on the top of your car and drive and see it 2 days later still frozen to the top and wonder where your Capri Sun went.
That's a... You know, I've heard a lot in my lifetime. That's a new one.
You're welcome.
I will remember that.
We do have Mechalink also fading Dwarf here and heading up to the moon. So nobody liking Dwarf Castle. Our runner saying, we have our party. Dwarf Castle's a long check. It's 2 bosses for only 1 key item check. Let's go to the moon.
I mean, the numbers say go to the moon. So you can't argue with the numbers, right? So you do.
Yeah.
That's not a key item.
It's a Murasame and an objective.
It's a fake combo.
I mean, it's better than ninja swords. Kind of.
I mean, as long as you have a great anchor. We've seen times where that -5 to agility can sometimes hurt.
Yeah, it won't matter here, but
no.
Yeah, it definitely has caused issues for runners in the past. Kind of like Charm Claws on Yong and things like that, where agility gets thrown out of whack. But
yeah, things happen. It
it's
is
still
kind of
fine.
fun though. A base level edge though, you could just slap a pair of Muras on them and a curse ring and have yourself a nice 1 agility anchor. It's great.
It's true.
Yeah. If you're doing that, I have questions, but also amazing.
To answer a question from chat, where was Cecil? Cecil was on the moon at the Lunar Dais. So it was available very early to our runners, who both ended up taking Ordeals and then diving for Holy Swords in Castle Eblin, and both hitting an Excal in there. Well, this is a boss that would be really unpleasant if you didn't have exactly an adamant armor. We do get an Ice 3 cast here, which is a little interesting for me. This to me would just be Zerk, let Cecil get XP, everyone else dies, and I carry on with my day.
Yeah. I mean, the counters will tickle, but they're not. I mean, Cecil, he's going to take 1, so it's like, yay. Even Glaire's going to do 1, so yay.
I guess a double punch front row, if it high rolls and crits both times, could be a little sketchy.
Maybe.
Usoya walking off the glare. Well done, sir. Well done.
So I know Chad asked the question, obviously, where was Cecil? I also have an important question, Possum.
Yeah.
Where's Antline?
Oh, yeah. There's what, 3 spots left on the moon, including Value Cave. I mean, odds, and math is hard, but odds would say not on the moon. So probably at the Ogopogo spot.
That was Why? Because that's how it works.
Because Antlion is in its natural habitat. We'll see. But whilst we see what this Ruby fight gives us, which is a Luca key, which is possibly required, we don't know. I do want to make sure that we thank our behind-the-scenes folks, S-Grunt doing the restream, and Twisted Flax keeping us honest, pushing the buttons behind the scenes and not eating them. And then Martin, of course, being a wonderful co-commentator. Always a blast to do this with you, my friend.
It is.
And yeah, just make sure to give everyone some love, putting on a great show for you. And also our runners, of course, Mechalink and JohnBirckhead, fighting for their playoff lives in the Artemis Bow group. So make sure you catch them whenever you can also.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing, Possum?
I'm seeing a
John walk right. Okay, thank you, John.
to the Ogopogo spot.
John?
Yeah, I was seeing a trip to the Ogopogo spot. I didn't hate it.
John, 200,000 revenue room. Turn around, come back, please.
Well, you say that, Martin.
Well, okay, maybe he just knew, and here it comes, and yep, everybody's dead.
Well, there was a chance that enough rolls could have been. No, I'm kidding. No, that was going to be dead every time. Battle Speed 3. So this is a bit awkward insofar as Battle Speed 3 is not going to do what you want it to do here.
Nope.
Because you can't buffer this spot. Yep. And with Sid dead, it's not going to do the trick. Goes down to 6. This is what we need.
Better. Yeah.
But how many times have we seen 42,000 HP of the Jerkbird this tournament so far?
Awesome. It's like more a reality. Like it's beginning to rival Antline being on the moon. It's getting to that point.
Wyvern 2, runners 0.
That's right. Possum, we can't call Wyvern Standard Time anymore. We have to call Wyvern Daylight Time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and soon there won't be Standard Time at all.
I know.
Or there won't be Daylight Time? I don't know how this is going to work. Again, reading not my strong suit. No. Also, I think leaving Cecil in the front row here going to benefit JohnBirckhead, because he can revive him with a life potion, then Zerk him, and have that arty Cecil go ham here.
Yeah. Here's the dangerous part. Yeah, you got to give it a little hiccup to get him back in the queue. Otherwise, well, we know what happens. There you go. We're fine.
Yeah, otherwise he locks and you're sad.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look, Cecil's doing, wait, what is he by, What?
Yeah. But we do see both runners have stabilized this fight. Some nukes coming out, some darts coming out, some quad 9s. We love big damage around these parts.
Told you those arrows would come in handy.
Yeah, and they are. Dueling wyverns.
Yeah, you just sit back, let Cecil do work here. Yeah, that's
work done.
Yep.
It's a lot of XP. Do we find value behind the wyvern? We do. That's a required legend sword. And another white shirt.
Look, ever since the pink tail turned into an adamant armor for this flag set, the white shirts had to go somewhere, right? So there you
T-shirts
go.
at the moon shop.
Yeah.
I did the whole moon and all I got was a stinking t-shirt. Also, shoutouts to Wyvern completely whiffing a nuke there. Likely trying to target that Cecil, but not having any luck.
Well, if a joke is funny once, it's funny twice.
Yeah. That's two. And off to the Ogopogo spot we go for John. He is up, a plague spot and the better half of this wyvern, but is down the lunar dragons in the Fame March as well as the Twin Heart, but we know both of those are not required.
Right.
So I think he is up, a Luca key and part of this wyvern right now. This is an interesting fight. One of the few fights that Edge might do more damage than Cecil here, but I think you still just circ up to Cecil.
I mean, I don't. Well, okay. Obviously, if you play the vanilla game, you understand the whole premise of it, etc., so forth. But yeah, why is an octopus resistant a whole week? I have questions.
Well, because you had to make it weak to dark, and that's the only way that the game can properly
recognize.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why that Mylon Z is weak to flying, is because it's supposed to be the earth element or something.
And
so
look, it's a 30-plus-year-old. It's amazingly coded.
Yeah, they literally launched a space shuttle to the moon 22 years before the game. We are now 31 years after the game. This game was made closer to the moon landing than it was to present day. So it's amazing that it's been able to be taken from its original form and put into this form in the first place. Yeah. And Octomam is gone. Let us see what JohnBirckhead gets while Mechalink has picked up his legend sword. That's a Gungnir spear. Oh, baby.
So, alright, so here we go. You've already done the... okay, no. I reset out of that. Okay.
Yep.
I was thinking about it. It's like, okay, you have the experience, you see the item. From that point, you walk up, you warp, you usually go to the Wyvern altar, except you've already done the Wyvern altar.
Right.
If that was the case, I probably would have kept the experience and just walked it, warped and did it that way, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think we are going to get the full moon clear, likely from both of our runners here. And I don't think that in this situation, either of them is going to feel behind, which is why I think we've seen them route fairly similarly as well. Why would you feel behind? For our runners, they were underground well under 40 minutes. They both had an Excalibur Cecil with an adamant armor. Yeah. Maybe Mecha feels a little behind because he took the time to do the D-Lunars and the Twin Harp, but conventional wisdom would at least point you to the Twin Harp.
Yeah.
Maybe not the D-Lunars, but...
Well, I mean, it comes down to that mentality of it's like, the march. It was doable when you went down there, but, neither required, and it's time. So, speaking of time, that is definitely not time right there.
It's time for Waterhag to have a bad day.
It really is.
Edward's going to get some love from Anna one last time in the seed. Because we're never going to see either one of them again.
I was going to say, I thought we left Edward on Earth. Hold on.
Be strong.
What do we have to show up on the moon? We have a Luca key.
Luca key, yep. A big
Why
old
do I-
chain behind the Luca key.
That's I'm looking at the remaining key items. Obviously, we know where Magma and the package are.
Yep.
Why do I see a chain? Oh well, that's
Sorry. A big old chain behind K
that's-
value
Yeah, that's an item.
that has
Yeah.
literally everything. It's
not
going to
re-
have either the Rat Tail or the Baron key, which is going to lead to both the Adamant and the Pass,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It has to be.
yeah, because there's nothing left.
Well, or I guess Luca's
Except
mixed
for-
in there somewhere.
except
Oh, and
for-
Dwarf Castle, because no one did Dwarf Castle.
Right.
Ooh.
So this entire moon could just be a straight Luca key that leads to nothing.
Theoretically possible. That would be a joy.
I say, boy, am I here for this, because how many free enterprise seeds have we ran? And yep, it can happen.
Yep. Oh yeah, the Legend Sword as well was behind Wyvern.
Yeah. All right.
So- Required moon.
Okay.
Chat is smart. Chat is correct.
I mean, look, you can't read, you can't do numbers, and I'm talking about Capri Sun wine pouches. I mean, I'm amazed this stream even functions right now. So, thank you, Flax and Grunt, for making us look way better.
Hey, if I was running this seed, I'd have found a way to get rid of to Medio, and we ain't even seen the young lady yet.
Hey, I hope those arrows are still on Cecil.
They are not.
Oh, sad face.
But he's still going to be doing bad things.
He will. He could be doing worse things, though. I mean, that's a respectable amount.
Yeah, 5K's good.
Yeah. All right, Mecha. Where are we going?
Poco Poco
it's
spot.
time for Octopus and be
Yep.
sad.
I mean, you don't want to leave single spots on the moon. We've all done it.
Yep.
And most of the time we've lived to regret it.
Yep.
Sometimes you get away with it, but
Yep.
more often than not you get punished. So you don't leave anything on the bottom anyway. Like you clear out these four, especially with Crystal Sword Altar being an objective.
Mhm.
That's normally the one you'd fade. That's a vanilla Bahamut, so that means that Dwarf has Rat Tail and or Baron Key, which leads to the other, which has
Luca could have something.
the Pass or Adamant, and Luca is thrown in there too. So yeah, basically Dwarf is like what, an 85 to 90% likelihood it's got a required key item at this point.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
But how tough was it to pull the trigger on Dwarf, though? I mean,
Oh no,
look
you're
at
going to
everything.
Luca here. You're not doing Dwarf.
No, I'm just no. If flashback to like 40 minutes in when you do the tower and all that, and your character selection, Earth Crystal, everything like that. How hard was it at that point to pull the trigger on Dwarf? I mean, you had your party, you had just about everything you needed, and the moon was calling to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I don't blame either runner for fading it.
Yeah, same here. I will say for those who are interested, I've seen some chatter about folks wanting to do some chatter for free enterprise. There's a Discord. You can go hop into that Discord and you can join up with the Restream team. Normally, folks start out on tracking. After making sure that they're able to pay attention more than I'm able to, they usually can get the bump up to commentary and other such roles, Restream help, etc. So it's a great time, great community to be a part of. Go ahead and join it. Come hang out. We're good people. We don't bite most of the time. And yeah, join us here in the commentary booth. It's a great time. Martin and I kind of talk about the video game sometimes, but most of the time it's just kind of just hanging out and having fun with friends.
Yeah. Also, I'll get newspapered for saying this, but I don't care. Look, Possum's in the booth, but I've heard that if you just eat all the buttons when you first start tracking, they kick you off tracking and you go straight to comms. I'm just letting you all know that now. So, acquire a taste for buttons, and, we'll see you up here soon.
Hey, I failed upward.
That's exactly accurate, yes.
We do see Mechalink keeping the Gungnir Spear, keeping the XP, it looks like. And was on Battle Speed 6. I think both runners did the Battle Speed 6 Octomam fight, or at least Mecha did. That's not a fun thing to do, but it is what it is. You get the XP, you want that XP, and then head to the rest of the moon. But as of now, JohnBirckhead has built up about a 2-check cushion.
Ooh.
There's the Baron key.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. I love how Dwarf is still looming large, though. Like, Baron could just be like, you thought you were in go mode. That's cute.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Rat Tail and the Pass. And not a whole lot to show for it. Another interesting thing that could happen is with Mechalink having already done the King spot and the Harp, if Dwarf has the value, at what point does he get to Dwarf? And is it before John does? Because John will have 3 things to choose from as far as fades, whereas Mecha will only have 1. So it's a much more linear path at this point for Mecha. John still has to make the right choice.
Baron's the boss. You were sitting there on the ground in Baron. We know how long Twin Harp is. We know how long Dwarf is. And you have a walk to go down to the Leviathan location. Ugh.
I
would want to be in that position, Possum.
In that case, I'm doing Baron proper and then Baron, or no, I'm doing Baron basement first.
Oh yeah,
and if it doesn't have the if it doesn't have the Adamant Rock, you do the Throne. If the Throne has nothing, I think you leave a save. You go do Dwarf, because having done Zot, you didn't see the Gauntlet yet, which means it's not at Dwarf 2, which means that fight is probably not super awful. So you take the known, if you will, instead of the unknown. I would save Scum, do Dwarf, and then go and do Twin Harp, and then route King as my final check. I think with 3 fades, that's how I would do it. I don't know if that's right, but that would be my gut feel on it. Also, if it's Gauntlet, and you see it at like Dwarf 1, you can just reset out and go do something else if you don't want to deal with it.
It's true.
Lots of options. And this is still going to be close if Baron does not have the value. If Baron has the value, John is objectively ahead. If Baron does not have the value, this is very, very close.
Yeah.
And yes, Dwarf and Baron, to answer chat, are the only things outstanding at this point. Well, I mean the Rat Tail, but that is from one of them.
And you can't, I mean, you can't fault, even with Mecha doing Twin Harp and, you know, the Leviathan location, you can't fault it. No. I mean, they made sense at the exact times he did them. So...
I mean, the thing with the King spot is, and this is kind of speaking to what I would do for the checks if Baron doesn't pay out. The King spot becomes your last location. So either you do it then, or you never do it. That's kind of how I look at it. And I don't know that Mecha wanted to put himself in a situation where he ever had to come back. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a very sound choice to take on the D-Lunars. He knew he could get through it. It wasn't a fear or a pain. So I also like a little bit of tech here from John, anchoring with Cecil in the middle here, knowing he is so much faster than these spots. Now going to the basement, though, properly anchored.
Good man.
So swaps over for this. We have seen Wyvern. We have seen Golbez, though. So I don't think this swap is truly necessary, but it's good practice to do this.
Very much so. It actually does save time. We have measured it. It does save time. Well, about that gauntlet.
Yep. So. Yep. This is awkward. Those conjurers have 3,000 health. Fusoya will not kill them with a virus. Fusoya will kill them with a nuke. Cecil probably kills them attacking with an Excal. If John had a mute knife, the Conjurers are mages, and they would explode to a Mute Knife. Unfortunately for John, having Fusoya in slot 1 here is just super awkward.
Yeah.
Probably the worst position, yet I would say still the correct position.
I mean, for how this seed is set up, and like we talked about earlier, if you don't have Bacchus, step 1 is getting Cecil go first.
Yep.
And then after that, whatever, figure it out. So you're not going to change that mentality for the one in not a lot of many bosses left, but you can't just, it's not like you can spy this boss. It's more like, hey, surprise, guess what? Aww. And you're not going to reset out of it either. So
yeah, also shout out to Fusoya bonking for over 1,000 damage with a Silent Staff. You don't see that every day, my friends.
Alright, where's Mecha going? Yep, Luca first. Alright.
Absolutely.
Yep, Luca, then Baron, and then questions. I mean, we know obviously where he'll go next. Question is, where's John's gonna go next, depending on what this turns up.
Yeah, the thing is, if Baron just has the goods, then John's fades. He managed to fade the exact 3 things that you just didn't need to do, which is just kudos, job well done. Like I wish I could route like that.
Yeah.
It would be Twin Harp Dwarf Castle and the King Spot. So, in Mecha's shoes, I mean, you'd be a little annoyed, but I don't even think you could be mad. You just be like, job well done to the opponent.
Yeah.
If that's how it turns out. But we're going to find out a lot of information in one more fight from this here Clapper. No nuke. We're getting a Quake. Fun fact, Clappers float when they are not summoned, so this Quake is actually going to miss. The Clapper, when it's summoned, is not floating, but the Clapper, when it is by itself, is floating. It's all features. There are no bugs, folks. Pay no attention to the silly things that happen with this particular off gauntlet.
Moment true. Survey says?
Survey says that is go mode for JohnBirckhead, and he has made all of the correct fades with the gauntlet out.
Wow.
With Golbez out. With Wyvern out. Do you do the throne here, or do you walk out?
You walk it out.
What's the timing on it?
28 seconds.
So it's 28 seconds from the Biden spot,
It's 28
correct?
seconds faster to walk it out than it is to sit through the fight, assuming you can one-shot the fight.
Well, here we go. We're liberating Baron.
Okay, well, and the problem is Fu doesn't have nuke because he's out of MP. So, yeah, he's going to need Cecil Swing to take this out.
Kamikaze skip. Let me see it.
Or that.
Oh,
yeah, I should have walked that one out.
It is a chance at pass.
That's true.
It's a good point brought up by chat. But Dr. Dialogue here is the last boss you wanted to find. If it's pass, again, it is correct. And we know it's a 50-50, right?
Yep. I would say, because the other 2 checks we know, I would say, as far as John's concerned, this is a 1 in 4. We know it's a 1 in 2.
I guess it's a 1 in 3, because if it's the rat tail, do you go chase it to try to turn it into a pass? I don't know. That's a little sketchy. Hey, we found Rydia. It'd be pretty hard to get her to Medio on this seed. I would try, but it'd be pretty hard. I don't think we're going to let Rydia hit things either. We do see Mecha warping out of Sealed Cave, is all the way through. We have a Toad and a Dancer, I believe, saving our party from being absolutely crushed. But let's see what JohnBirckhead gets from this. Do we get a pass or do we get something else?
Oh,
wow.
Everything's coming up, John.
Better lucky and good.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, so you've got everything you need.
I don't want to race this man. He's good and he's lucky. That's a dangerous combination, folks.
All right, Possum. Here's the last question. before we get to nap time.
Do you rob the old man? Yes.
No. We already knew the answer to that question. That's fine. We know the shops that John has checked underground. Do you take a swing at Bacchus and Dwarf before you go to Z?
No.
Okay.
You keep Fusoya where he is, you zerk up
Just do it
Cecil,
that way.
and
Okay.
you dart everything you have left with Edge, and then you zerk him too.
Okay.
That's how I would approach it. Cecil by himself is going to carry so much damage. I also agree with not even bothering with the Forge shop here.
There's nothing you need there. I mean, you have everything. I mean,
Because in John's case also, has he even checked Tamra?
I don't know if he went down that far, actually. He may not have.
Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's everything John needs to do, and he has his pass, and he has his character set up how he wants him. He has his crystal up top. He has 6 silk webs, which is 5 more than you would ever want for this fight. And we have Chat, who is Chat's apparently not excited for what's about to happen. I'm waiting, y'all. There we go. There's some Z's in chat. Y'all were napping on us. Come on now.
I thought that's what the Z stood for, Possum. Wait, what?
Well, I mean, it's 7:45 here, my friend. Like,
I know it's prime time. I get.
So Martin.
Yeah.
We can't put the last boss in random locations like Antlion Cave or where Wyvern was at D Lunars and have it like Medio and Big Bang us to death.
Yes.
So instead of moving the boss around, the boss gets a makeover, stays in the same place, keeps the same moveset, but undergoes a little bit of transformation. So Martin, there's a question that the community loves to ask, and then a few follow-up questions. Take it away, sir.
What happens if the sprite doesn't have a butt?
Victory chicken for everyone.
Then I will ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
That's a good question.
But
How is butt?
I'm also for the victory chicken, though.
Right. Everyone loves victory chicken. Well, at least I do. Be selfish on that one. The crystal is thrown for JohnBirckhead just under the 1 hour and 34-minute mark. The true colors are emerging. Zoromus is very angry because he has been bothered by the crystal, and that is a D machine.
It has a butt.
It has a butt. It's very angry.
Yeah.
Most people hate that sprite because they saw too much of it in prior tournaments, but I love that sprite.
I think
it's
like
fantastic.
It twice as much as everybody.
Well, here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Cast Berserk on it. Trust me, it's a great idea.
I hear bonking it with a power staff is not a great time.
It's great if you want to die.
That is
throwing for content. Chat asking, can we weak it? No.
No. I mean, you could try.
Oh, that's an awkward roll on Fusoya. Is Fu gonna live here? I think so, because he's gonna get this Cure 4 off. Cecil throwing a bomb there. 7,000 with an X-Cal, not even a Crystal Sword. That is damage, y'all.
And then it goes right back to 5,000. Yep, that's variance, folks. Ain't it fun? Boy, you can see what an axe can do in the right spot.
I mean, what is it? Poison Axe does whatever a Poison Axe does. It's kind of like Spider Pig.
Yes.
Sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. Most of the time, it just disappoints.
Yes.
But I know who's not disappointed. That's going to be JohnBirckhead very soon, because this Zoromus is not long for this world.
No.
We have roughly 5,000 a swing coming out from Cecil, roughly 3 to 3,500 coming out from Edge. So doing about 8,000 around. Probably going to nerf a second Big Bang here. Might not even see a second Big Bang though. This might go straight to rocks. But this is a pretty easy fight from here.
do you really nerf this with a pair of adamant wares? Like, I think you just sit for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tanking it every time.
Bring it home.
Yeah. There's rocks, I believe.
There it is.
No second Big Bang.
Yeah.
One set of rocks. Do we get the kamikaze swag?
He was looking. He really was.
Yep. I approve of the attempted swag.
Oh, John.
There is the crack, boom, flash. Well, no flash because flash effects are off. But that is JohnBirckhead coming in with a 136-18, defeating Zoromus and moving to 3-2 in the Artemis Bow group, and definitely doing a good job keeping his playoff hopes alive to make it a bracket. Again, GG's to JohnBirckhead.
Yeah, GG indeed. We'll see if we can get him in here for an interview.
I just heard a ding.
Oh.
And I think that means
mean
a doorbell.
I was saying you're checking at the door.
Did you just call me a ding?
No.
The ding was a doorbell. We're talking about chicken. John, how you doing?
Hi,
GG's very well run, sir. How you feeling?
GG's good, pretty good. You know, as always, there's always a few things here and there. But got pretty lucky with my fades, and aside from a few little things along the way, I felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, we're so disappointed that you were sitting there looking for a kamikaze right at the end of the Z fight. We knew what was coming. Nope, you ain't got one. No, disappointment.
Listen, I mean, you know, it's being restreamed. You got to do something, right? I mean, I didn't do music. I didn't check jobs worth. Like I had to, you know, do something for the memes, but I didn't have one. So
you also didn't. You didn't even hit quad 9s on the Dark Elf on the hook route. Like you were letting us down all over.
I'm a pile of trash, Possum. I am a trash panda like yourself, I guess.
And that's why I love you.
Okay, love you too.
So, yeah, I mean, okay, so we'll ask the question because obviously you and Mecha did two different things. One, you never looked at the sparkle in the March. And you had an opportunity to do music and faded it. What's the idea behind both of them?
I have to, honestly, everything made sense at the time. I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I'm in the middle of it, you know, when I get like a cutscene or something, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, going to go here, going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I got underground, you know, I had a really good match against Blue Cat, who won sure-handedly, but I didn't help myself by doing full Fey March. So honestly, I went down there just to get the freebie and be on my sweet little way, which I believe was Earth Crystal or something that was required.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw Odin, and I knew I had the Thunderclaw. I'm like, all right, so this is a freebie. And then I started to panic a little bit. I'm like, well, let me go see what it is, and I can go save and then come back. And I'm like, you know what, John, you have Panbonk, you have Dwarf, you have Luca. Like you're gonna be back down here again at some point. It's not like you're never coming back underground. You have to forge at some point. So at that point, it's like, you know what, just go, John. Just go ahead and go. And then, honestly, it was just, you know, following objectives. You know, I got through Zot, and then I had a few objectives to go, and one of the objectives was on the moon. I had an Adamant Excal Cecil, and it's like, you know what, let's just go to the moon. And I was, you know, the average seems to be like 3 key items. I'm like, all right, well, we'll just get 3 key items, which there were only 2. And then I kind of full cleared the moon, and came back down, and was like, let me just, you know, at that point it's density of checks, right? So Luca Keys underground. At that point I was fully prepared to go ahead and, you know, do all my underground checks and then do Twin Harp Blast. Like, you know, the harp was available very early and I made a decision to fade it. Like, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, you can't really hedge your bets. Like, you make a decision and you go. So, you know, I think Luca gets kind of a bad rap because you can check the item, you know, and, you know, exiting out your save scum, it doesn't take all that long. It just worked out, and you know, the rest was the seed.
Makes perfect sense to me. Awesome.
Yeah, very sound logic, sound routing. We liked a lot of your routing throughout the seed. Also, early on, one of the things that really benefited you over Mecha was you decided, even after finding all 3 trap chests, to fully loot Eblin, and you picked up the Dancing Dagger and, more importantly, the Full Moon in the basement. Mecha didn't pick those up until going back to clear the trap chests. So that commitment to that full loot of Eblin really paid dividends for you early on. It built you a decent little cushion and then you just really started pushing with that Excal Adamant Cecil, and just really liked your routing overall and your overworld. It was very tight, very nice. Going from ordeals and getting everything taken care of. Just thought you played really, really well. I think you should be very proud of how you're doing in this tournament.
Well, that means a lot coming from you. I watch both of you quite a bit and try to pick up some things here and there. We all know just how many ridiculously good runners there are. And I watch quite a bit and just trying to pick things up, even if it's just on the background while making the kids lunch or dishes or what have you. I mean, even like the decision to check the pass was, I think I was watching either PK or Dusty, and it was this exact situation. They were at Baron, like, yeah, I'll do the Baron throw in case of the pass. And I'm looking at my tracker, I'm like, oh, I don't have the pass. And I know it's not going to be Gauntlet, and it can't be Golbez, it can't be Wire, like, it can't be anything rude. Like, Mom would have been a little rude, I guess, but, like, with Food and 2 Atoms, like, how rude could it really have been? So I was like, yeah, it might be a little bit longer, but maybe I get the pass, and then I sprung it, so... yeah, no, I felt pretty good about it, 3-2, one more match tomorrow. Blue Cat and Plumeria are really, really good, and sitting up top. So I need a little help to have a play in, but I'm just trying to have fun with it. It's such a wonderful community and such a fun game. So.
Yeah, and with that 3-2 record, looking at the rest of your group, I believe that now does at least guarantee you. Well, no, it doesn't quite guarantee you. There is an outcome where I think Frankie Bones now could win their last two if you were to lose your last one where you would not make a play-in. So for your sake, let's hope that doesn't happen. But who is your race against tomorrow?
I have David B. It's my last race, and I am relieved. This 7-person group, for a game so fun, has raised my blood pressure and called my cholesterol and a few other health effects. Everyone's been so kind and amazing, but I'm a little, it kind of feels like a gauntlet, and I'm kind of relieved to have my last one tomorrow.
Definitely. So you do control your own fate in a sense now, though. If you get to 4 wins, you are guaranteed a play-in. So there's no way that you can be eliminated in 4 wins. So just go win tomorrow, and you're there. At least with a chance.
Yeah,
go win tomorrow. Okay, right. Yeah, just like I should go and just go to where the key items are, goes faster. Possum,
exactly.
Thank God you're on comms today, buddy.
Hey, remember, if you complete the seed in less time than your opponent, you win the race. That's all you got to do.
Hold on. I'm going to write this down. Hold on. If you... can you just message me on Discord? I can't remember all that.
Yeah, I got you.
Less time. It has to be 3 seconds or more faster, though. Otherwise,
3 seconds.
Yeah, bad things occur. So.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So, but yeah, no, excellent race. Very, very well played. It was a treat to watch. So.
From coming from both of you, that means a lot, and the fact that I'm just gonna go back and take notes and rewatch. Knowing you two we're doing commentary just makes it that much more enjoyable. So
okay, look. Would you like me to summarize comms for you? It went like this: there was chicken, there was Capri Sun wine, possum in a can, and a few other things. There might have been some actual good information, and that was kind of the gist of it. So
I mean, I'm sitting here excited either way. So. Oh my goodness gracious!
Go enjoy your win.
Well, I'm gonna go clean my kitchen and make my daughter's lunch. That's my
go hit a possum for victory chicken afterwards.
Okay, thank you to all of the Restream team. Thank you for doing comms. I'm not sure who's doing tracking or restreaming, but it's just such an incredible amount of work. So thank you all very, very, very much.
Yeah. Have yourself a good evening,
John.
Have a good night, guys.
Take
care. Bye-bye.
All right, and that was our winner, JohnBirckhead, moving to 3-2, again finishing an official time of 136.18. While that interview was going on, Mechalink did take an attempt at Zoromus. Did not see exactly what happened with it, but looks like did take a reset, so I assume probably a bad roll somewhere. Maybe a non-dodged Big Bang or something that could have taken Cecil out. Yeah. But yeah, something went awry, so we will see if Mecha can take this home on the second attempt here.
I mean, it's not like neither of us have seen, fully max power Big Bang hit someone before, right, Possum?
If I'm not mistaken, saw you hit exactly a 2700 roll on someone a couple weeks back.
Yeah, never thought that was possible. Boy, did that hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Monday.
Yeah. Nah, Mecha's got this handle. We're good. Also, I did see a kamikaze in the inventory too, so that's important.
Yeah, kamikazes are fun. Get the old crumble skip.
Yeah. Hey, awesome. There's your name in the credits right there.
Yeah, sorry I can't read. So.
Oh, it was the really long name at the end of the list. I think they did that so you'd actually recognize that could be you.
Oh.
Yeah.
They should have just put something in there that said Fade Heart. No, that would have been confused with Harumph.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah.
We do see some big damage coming out here from Cecil and Edge, though.
Yep, that's a number. Ironically, we that was not the spoon. I'm pretty sure he just darted an Excal with Adamant that came out. I'm pretty sure that's what just got thrown.
Well,
and here comes
they have two of them because there was one from the Forge and one from Eblin, so
yeah,
dart him if you got him.
Yeah.
The big darts are gone, now you zerk up Edge. It makes sense because if you figure a dart is equivalent to 2 zerk swings, if he's only hitting for 3k and those darts are doing 6, 7, 8, 9,000, it makes sense. It checks out mathematically.
Yeah.
And Mecha might not have come out ahead on this race, but that's a man that knows his numbers in this game.
Very much so.
Mechalink, one of the people I learned 1200 stats from, in addition to Zilch. Lots of incredible information that he has available to him. So definitely a great source of information.
And, like you said, obviously this isn't going to be the result Mecha wants, but you can't fault how Mecha played this seed.
Nope, not at all.
You look at what John did, you look at what Mecha did. Cases were easily made for both, the Twin Harp and the Leviathan spot. You can't fault. Oh, there's rocks.
Yeah, rocks, Cecil dodge, Fu dodge. This fight is over. Going to be 1 or 2 more swings here, and the D Machine will be down on Mecha's side as well. No kamikaze swag coming out, but the D Machine is down.
And 2.04 million experience just came out. Oh boy, wait, what?
And that is Mecha finishing in a time of 1:48.15, coming in second today, but still not mathematically eliminated from the group. Just has a very direct path in now. A couple things that have to happen, but we will see if we can get Mecha in for an interview. And I believe with that dinging in our ears, we are joined by Mecha. GG's to you.
Thank you.
And Mecha, we'll just start out. We know that this wasn't obviously the result that you wanted, but you are still in contention in your group for a play-in. Just kind of take it. Well, I believe if John loses his next match and you win out, that would put you in a tie for third, right?
Yeah, tie for third.
Yep. And then you have to play that to lock in third.
Lock in a tie for second. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Second.
Okay,
yeah.
not as dead as I thought. Then. All right.
Yeah. So
I'm fine with not as dead as I thought. All right. So yeah, no. Where do you want me to start?
So I mean, just kind of take us through things. Like we thought you both played really well. Honestly, you both obviously had the high power with that Adamant, that Excal Cecil. We know that you ended up taking the King spot. You took the Twin Harp. You did some things on Earth that didn't pay out, but we thought were very logical to do. Just kind of take us through like your routing and where your mind was at and what you wanted to do versus not do on Earth.
So with the Twin Harp Earth, since these are long completion seeds, that makes an efficient check, right? Like, so you gain a little bit of time in the likely chance that it was relevant in a high completion seed, right? So when you can do those kind of, the things that flow into each other, Twin Harp into Earth, stuff like that, you kind of do. Similarly, right, like that was not a difficult, that wasn't a difficult King spot. So, right, like you hit it when you're there and it was a key item, it just wasn't a relevant one. Right, like, so stuff like that. And then, Dwarf Castle's long and wasn't really, right, like wasn't really enticing there's certainly the character's not enticing at that point. Right. Especially since we had Earth Crystal, by the time we were thinking about leaving. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where all of that comes from, in essence, is high completion seeds try to flow things together for, since it's likely you'll end up doing them all. And in this case, it didn't pan out that way, and that happens.
Yeah, the logic definitely makes sense, especially after Zot, where you ended up with basically a perfect party for these flags, where you have a Sid Anchor, a Fusoya as your mage, and then Edge and Cecil, who are usually the two best Zerkers on the flag set. Dwarf becomes incredibly unappealing. I think we were all in unison on that it's just a really ugly check at that point.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I also did Panless and then got Pan. Happens. Same deal, right? Like,
yeah.
If Pan comes on the moon, right, like that Sheila check is, could have been relevant, right? But if, Pan happened to be behind Earth, so okay, well, I guess that was a waste of time, right? So you're gambling X amount of time for the much higher odds that Pan is not on, right, like at Earth Crystal or Twin Harp, right?
Yeah.
And that didn't pay out either.
Yeah, it was a situation of, kind of rando gonna rando, like you alluded to, that you made a lot of great decisions, and in many seeds they would have paid off. In this one, they did not, and that happens to everybody.
Yeah, I know. It does. That has been the story of my tournament to some degree, right? Like, just you can't win coin flips. I like staying on Moon, given that the only way that leaving kind of pays, because, right, like, we didn't have Baron Key, right? Like, Baron Key is the only forking chain left, right? So the only way that leaving Moon on Luca Key pays is if Luca is exactly Baron Key. Right, and so it's kind of like, okay, right, like, why not finish the Moon, right? Like, I have the power, right? And so it's kind of like that. I mean, that's not, and then you immediately do Luca because you're like, oh god, like, if Luca's, it's not at the moon, right? Like, if it's at Dwarf or Fey March, right? Like, I am so far beyond dead. Yeah. and it was Luca, so yay. But if I didn't quit out of the moon as soon as John did, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, you were about 2 to 3 minutes behind for the majority of the seed. Part of that came from, like, the early loot. Actually, the full moon in the basement in Eblin made such a big early difference, probably more than any other one check or one piece of loot. Just allowed him to be a lot more efficient on the overworld. So I think you were about 2 minutes behind getting underground. It was pretty level getting into the Fey March, where you had made up some time. Like, I would definitely encourage you to watch it back, because it was very close, very tight most of the way through.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was a good race.
What did you say, Possum? 38 seconds between them on the hook wrap? That's how close it was?
I think it was a minute 38.
Minute 38?
But it was close.
Did he check Moon after, and so he had Adamant sooner?
You both went to the moon immediately, but he did the checks in a different order and got the Adamant first, and was able to just land and do all of the hook stuff in one fell swoop. So was able to pick up the hook, get the pink tail, then go right to the hook route. So it just ended up being slightly tighter routing on the overworld, which made that difference. I think you got the Excal first, he had the Adamant first, so his Eblin fights were slightly faster as well.
Yeah.
Again, in another seed, the way you ran it could have paid out. Again, alluding to those coin flips. So it happens.
That's coin flips. Like, I'm not worried about that. That explains kind of like the slight overworld lead.
Yeah.
Right. And then, right, like the rule with Adamant, right, like, is you just lean on it, right? Yeah. Like, you've got Adamant and you just barrel through, and that's exactly what I did, right? Like, as I just took Adamant and I was like, Adamant can beat D-learners. Adamant can beat I bought coffins, right? Like, and so when I saw the guards that I knew were the 3-in-1, right? Like, it's like, great, right? Like, a coffin ends the fight.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like quickly, not only is it a requirement, but it's going to be an easy fight. So smash tower. Right. Into Fey March, CD Lunars can smash those. Right. And then kind of like, okay, right, like now we have, go back above ground, finish the things I got. Right. Like, and okay, right, like there's like the moon is calling, So yeah, I mean I like all of that. Just you have to make almost, it seems like all seeds in the end in this tournament come down to coin flips at the end, no matter how high completion they are. Mm-hmm. Right. And right, like, and that's the case this time too.
So let's look going forward and hope that there's less coin flips, or if there are, they come up in your favor a little bit. You are now 1-3, but again, you do still have a line on a potential play-in for brackets. Who are your next opponents, and when can we see you race again, if you have them scheduled yet?
Oh, we have them scheduled. Artemis Group has had everything scheduled. Let me pull that up. So my next opponents, I have Saturday and Sunday. Late on Saturday, 10 Eastern with Frankie Bones. Mm-hmm. And then Plumeria is Sunday at 1 Eastern. And yeah, if I win those, I'm 3-3, right? And Plumeria becomes 4-2, with BCL at 5-1. And then like it could be a 3-3 scrum.
Yeah,
right. Like in essence, there's the possibility, but that to be a 3-3 scrum, we did the math on that earlier. To be a 3-3 scrum, it has to be like John has to lose his against David.
Yeah.
And Frankie has to win his against Jay Brun and then lose against me.
Yeah.
Right. So we actually did exactly that math, right? Like on what it looks to be, how it becomes a 3-3 scrum. And it requires specifically that John lose and that, I beat Plumeria and Frankie. And yep. So
it's for Enterprise, though. Anything can happen, my friend.
It can happen. Yep. Sure can.
Well, we'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully the result doesn't get you too down. I hope that it's exciting to know you still have a line on this, even if it might seem doom and gloom. So we'll try to have you enjoy your evening.
Not being dead is better than being dead. I hope people enjoyed the watch all the same. This is my first restream for the tournament. So I hope people enjoyed it. And yeah, we've got 5 more left in Artemis Group, and we've just kind of broke down basically all the ways it comes out, right? Like whoever wins out most, right? Like at this point, right? Like is going to be third place.
Yep.
Right. And if I win out most and the other 2 don't at all, then we get a big tie for third place.
Well, you said the hot button word.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's possible to get we did the math on the possibility of like the 3-way tie, right? Or the 4, all of the people who were X2 tying at X3. So,
well, we'll see what happens. GG once again to you. Always a blast to get to watch you run. And we look forward to seeing you on Saturday and Sunday, and see if you can sneak on into this thing.
I'll be trying.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Mecha. Any final words before we let you go for the evening?
No. Thank you, Possum. Thank you, Martin. Hope everybody enjoyed. And see you all on Saturday and Sunday.
All right. Take care.
GG's again, Mecha.
Yep. Jane.
All right.
Wow,
well, that was our second place finisher this evening, but still not eliminated from bracket contention. All this way into things. Everyone's still alive, basically. It's great to see.
I was going to say I've seen worse things in NFL playoffs and all that. So,
oh my heavens,
this is nothing. All he's got to do is win, and have like 8 different things fall in place. What are the odds of that?
100% half the time.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense on the math. Remember, don't do math on stream.
No.
But Martin, we had a wonderful race this evening. It was so cool to hang out with all of our friends here. S-Grunt doing the restream, Twisted Flax doing the tracking, JohnBirckhead and Mechalink putting on a heck of a show for everyone, and of course yourself as my commentary partner.
Hey.
But I don't think we're done here. And not only do I think that we're not done, I also think that we already know who's going to be on the big stage tomorrow, too. So before we let y'all go, let's highlight some things. So we got at 4 o'clock Eastern on Free Enterprise, the flagship station is going to be Just Kinda Ninja versus Beer Nerd at 4 o'clock Eastern. On Free Enterprise 2, which is this very channel, if you haven't hit the follow button, go ahead and do so you get that alert. That's going to be Microkorgs and Leggy Starscream at 7 Eastern. Pretty hype. And then we're also going to have Gale Swift and Guerin at 9 o'clock Eastern. That is going to be on Free Enterprise, the main channel again. And
hey Possum.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you have a hard time reading, so I'll get this one.
Okay.
RPG Limit Break tomorrow, folks, 8 p.m. Eastern. Asmati Games versus a certain trash panda that we all know and love. It's the one and only Possum. Yeah. On the big stage.
Our friends at RPG Limit Break. Always great people.
Ready? Are you ready?
I am ready. Asmati Games in chat right now.
Yeah.
Hi. So those are the hype matchups for tomorrow. In addition to that, there's also probably another 10 or 12 matches. Well, actually only about 4 or 5 more. I think we're kind of winding down on things, but lots of really great matches still tomorrow. Make sure you catch as many as you can. But that all being said, we are not done this evening. We are going to send you over to a friend. Martin, what friend are we sending everyone to?
Dravenheart. Yeah.
I thought you were the one good at reading.
I can look. I got distracted by the whole a dark matter hunt thing. So
Fair.
Yeah, it is kind of distracting.
So yeah, we are going to head on over to Dravenheart, who is doing a dark matter hunt. One of the creations of one of our wonderful community members, Rex Raoul, who came up with the idea many years ago now, I believe. So give Draven some love. Make sure that you don't spoil anything on this end from this awesome race. And we will see y'all sometime tomorrow, everyone.
Soon TM. Bye, everyone.
Have a great night.
Bye.